think your words matter until someone listens, but your voice changes you first. It rewires the way you see yourself, the way you think about yourself. It reshapes the way you move. Today, we want to talk about your voice. Today, we want to help you see how much you using your voice shapes the world. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 39 books and counting. I've had the amazingly wonderful privilege of working with over 5,000 people, helping them write, publish, market their books to bestseller, and everything that goes beyond that. And really what I do is I'm just here to help you find your clarity, to be the arbiter, if you will, if that's even the right word to use, of your clarification of you, of your architect, if you will, of your visibility in this world. There is somebody that is waiting on you. They are looking forward to you sharing that message that they don't even know you yet. They don't even know that you have the message that they need, but they know that they need it. They can feel it deep down inside of themselves, and they are just longing for you to share your you with the world, you to say the thing that they need to hear. When you do, they will be so glad that you did. Somebody is waiting on you. Somebody is, even, yes, I've said it before, suffering in your silence. And often that first somebody, that most important of all somebodies, is you. Yeah, somebody's suffering in your silence. It's that same somebody, that man in the mirror, that woman in the mirror, that person that looks back at you with those beautiful eyes and says to you, "Can you help me, please? I need it." You need to hear your words. You see, it's so easy for people to convince us that our words don't matter. We go on, we do a Facebook Live, okay? I could get all up inside of my head right now with I've been on for 2 minutes and there aren't 2 million people on, It doesn't matter. You're there. Your 2 ears are there. So you already have 2 ears listening to you. The minute you open your mouth, you've got 2 ears that are already fine-tuned listening into you. And you have a life that you're going to change. Yours to start with, but many others. And now here's the thing that I really want to break it down for you to super simple, really easy ways of thinking about it, okay? There are 8 billion people in the world. All right. Wouldn't it be awesome to do some kind of a live or put out a YouTube short or a reel or something and have 8 billion people follow it? I mean, you would actually make some money off of that. You go onto YouTube and you get 8 billion people that actually watch your video. Wow. Okay. Yeah. That would actually be a notable check. I've heard enough of my artist friends, and my business partner, Willie J, is in that realm that, I know how little the payment really is, per person or per, hundreds of thousands of people that watch a particular live. But if 8 billion people, that would still be a pretty decent check, right? And that would be really cool and also really impossible for every single solitary man, woman, boy, girl, baby in the whole entire world to watch your thing, okay? But it would be cool, sure. But it's also overwhelming. Think about just feel it for a minute. I know you can feel it. The pressure of 8 billion people. There are 8 billion. If I came right out and instead of saying somebody's waiting on you, if I said 8 billion people are unable to get where they're going because you haven't shared your thinking. Oh my gosh, talk about pressure. It's too much. Even when we start thinking about millions or hundreds of thousands or even tens of thousands, it's those become numbers that blow our brain, not necessarily blow your brains out, but they're staggering. There's too many zeros for it to really be real. I mean, until you've stood in front of a crowd of 200, it's hard to imagine being in front of a crowd of 1,000. And until you've stood in front of a crowd of 10,000, it's hard to imagine being in front of a crowd of 50,000. And okay, let's go back with that again. Okay, until you've been at a venue, you've been an attendee, you've been, at a rock concert, a play, a movie. I mean, plays and movies wouldn't count, but a rock concert, some type of large arena style event, like a football or baseball game, those kind of things where they have really, really huge stadiums. I mean, don't get me wrong, basketball games too, but they're typically speaking, a basketball court is, as far as number of people that can attend to the game, don't tend to be as big. Now, when we get into the NBA, when we get to the professional level, they often are. In fact, sometimes, there's even a few of them that, they literally cover up, the hockey arena or the football field or what have you, and it's just the basketball court that's there. And then, all the seats, and then they have seats that are lower than what the bleachers are when it's a football game. I know that there are some fields, and most of the stadiums aren't doing this anymore, but they were doing that in the days. So, but when we talk that level, that number of people, okay, until you've been to, I remember, and this is a lot of years ago, my dad and I and my brother, and actually a really good friend of mine, we all went to Promise Keepers and I don't even know if the Vikings are playing in the Metrodome anymore. Somebody would have to check me on that. I really don't know. But it was in the Metrodome. And we were way up in the nosebleed sections of the Metrodome. I mean, way, way up at the top. And that particular Promise Keepers event, they had the stage at what would be essentially where the end zone is. And they had set up the whole stage. So if you think about all of the end zone and that area and the field and the sides and all of that, it took up that whole entire area there, and probably actually even came out to 2 to 5 yards out. Okay. Really, really huge stage that they had set up. And then they had seating so that it went all the way around this way, but no one was behind them. They actually had like it curtained off or something, so it was about 3/5, 3/4, whatever, of the Metrodome. Lots and lots and lots of people. Okay. And so you can imagine with it like that, you can imagine what it would even be like for it to be full. And you can begin to then get the vision of, now, what would it be like if I was the person delivering an address on that stage? And some of you that have heard my previous lives, you've heard me talk about in 1985 being in Rotterdam at what Continentals called the Rotterdam Finale, and being one of the people that was tapped to be one of the speakers. It was just a testimonial, it was like 3 minutes, 5 maybe at most. But it's awe-inspiring. It's overwhelming to be looking out at a crowd of, I forget, it was somewhere between 10 and 20,000 people. And it expands your vision in a way, okay, in a huge way, And there was another one that was in Indianapolis or somewhere in Indiana that was that same summer. And I think we had 2,000 to 5,000 kids there. And in that particular case, I was the only one speaker. There was 3 people that gave testimonials in Rotterdam, but I was the one only speaker at that one, to give a testimonial. And it changes your vision. So if you've been at those levels, you do have that different vision of you speaking to tens and 20s and hundreds of thousands of people. But I can tell you, even with that level of experience of being able to close your eyes and focus for a minute and be like, yeah, I remember what that looked like, what that felt like. I remember that sense of awe that came from that. And it's changing. I mean, it's absolutely life-changing. Yes, the phone is going to ring, and we're just going to deal with it, right? Um, but even with that, even with microphones and a great lighting system and great acoustics and all of those kind of things that go into performing at and making your voice heard by everyone in the auditorium or in the stadium or whatever, by that many people. um, it's a lot, and it takes a lot of things that are in there. But even with all of that, it's impossible to truly one-on-one really completely connect with the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions and everything with all the people that are there. One of the reasons why, the event that Willie and I are putting together that'll be at the end of January, more information coming up on that. If you want to know about it, you can drop me a message and we can talk a little bit about it now. I have all the broad strokes outlined for it. One of the reasons why I really feel led to do it is like 20 to maybe max 30 people is because I really do want it to be high touch. I really, when you're in that room, and we're going to bring it to a city near you. So even if you don't get to go to the first one in January, we will be coming to an area near you and doing just tons of them. We want to. We're excited to get out there among you and really reach out and touch you. Absolutely, we are. And we wanted to do that because we want to really be able to look you personally in the eyes and really truly connect with you. And you just don't do that when there's 500, 1,000, 10,000 people in the audience. It just doesn't happen. But what you can focus on, and I know I went a little bit long in that, but what you can focus on, what you can close your eyes and imagine, because I know you've done this, is having an impactful conversation with a person, with one person. Now, I've told this story many times before. There's even a video on, if you're on my Facebook, that you can go and watch of me doing it live at the event that I spoke at in March. There was a horrible storm, and there was a bunch of starfish that had washed up onto the beach. And a little girl was running down the beach, throwing the starfish into the ocean just as quick as she possibly, her little legs and her little arms could move. And an old man was watching her and eventually walked up to her and he said, you can't possibly save all of them. And the little girl smiled and ran up to the next one, dashing around and threw it in. And then as she picked up the next one and threw it in the water, she turned back to him and said, yes, but to that one, it means everything. And that's where I want your mind to focus on. It's to that one, it means everything. And then I want you to, and I'm always telling you to do this with your phone, right? And this is going to be a little different. I want you to pick up your phone, okay? But then I want you to turn on the camera. But then I want you to turn the camera so that instead of using this back camera, you're using the front one and you're looking at you, okay? Looking at your face. All right, what you were going to do if you were going to do a live video anyway, right? But then I want you to really look at that person. I want you to see them. And I want you to then say to that person, hey, do you know how special you are? Take that in. Record it. And then I want you to, after you've recorded, just that simple, just that basic. Hey, do you know how special you are? And then I want you to immediately right after that, watch it. Watch yourself say to yourself, hey, do you know how special you are? Okay. And I want you to put your phone down. I wouldn't even care if you pause, if you're watching this on the replay, pause it and go do that right now. Because then at the end we can do this. But, one way or the other, about a half an hour after you do that, I want you to pick it up and I want you to watch that video again. Okay? And then I want you tomorrow morning, whatever day you're listening to this, live or on the replay, whatever tomorrow morning is for you, I want you to pick it up and I want you to listen to that again. And then tomorrow night, just before you go to bed, I want you to listen to it again. Okay? And I want you to then listen to that every morning and every night for the next week. Okay? And then I want you to put it away for a week and not worry about watching it every day. You can if you want to, but for this to work the way that I'm outlining it for you, you don't have to watch it for the whole next week. And then after that, and I want you to mark it on your calendar, because after you've not watched it for a week, you're going to forget. All right. So watch that stupid watch that stupid video Steve made me make, okay. It's all right. Won't hurt my feelings at all. All right. You wait for a week and then you watch it again. And take a whole nother week and watch it morning and night, every morning, every evening. Watch you say to you, hey, do you know how amazing you are? Okay. Only this time, instead of waiting for a week, doing it for a week and then taking a week off, this time I want you to take the next 4 weeks, 28 days. Okay. 7 times 4, 28, right? Okay. And I want you to watch it morning and evening every single day. Okay. Now I know, let's just be real here. Okay. Someday you're going to miss it. Okay. If you get up in the morning and the morning's crazy, and it's 11 o'clock and you remember it, you're like, watch it then. If you go to bed at night and you forgot to watch it, just do it again the next morning. Okay. This isn't some kind of a pharisaical, new weight around your neck kind of thing. All right. But I want you to see where you get to the point where you start looking forward to it. And then you get to the point where it goes beyond just bouncing off of your ears, hits your eardrums and bounces off, kind of like my fingers are doing off the side of my head right now. Right? Until it gets to that point where you start going, hey, do I know how amazing I am? Ooh, there you go. And then you move forward another step. And eventually, and this might take you longer than 28 days, especially if you've had decades of people telling you how not amazing you are. You are amazing. Let me be the one to tell you that. If you've never told yourself that, nobody else has ever told you that, you are amazing. Okay? You are. You are the absolutely perfect you. You got it. You nailed it. You get it 100 out of 100. You're always you. Even with all your faults and failures and everything, you're incredible. You need to know it. Absolutely, you do. And it might take you longer than the 28 days for you to get to this next level. But the next level of that is when you wake up in the morning and without having to have to watch the video, you say, I'm amazing. And when you lay your head on the pillow at night, you get to the place where the last words, the last thoughts that you have in your mind before you drift off to sleep is, I'm amazing. What would it do in your world if you truly believed you were amazing? You see, yes, we want to impact the world. And yes, we're going to get back here in a second to that one person. And yes, Mocha is trapped in the room and we're going to hear her scratch for the rest of this. And that'll be a fun, laughing, drinking game as well. Unless somebody happens to hear her and they come and open my door. But before you can rewire somebody else, before you can be the transformational coach that you want to be, before you can have the amazingly cool, wonderful, awesome framework that you've created, you need to be your first customer. You need to be bought into it. I'm always saying to you, and I'm going to say it again, if you don't hard up your post, why should anybody else? It's funny, this morning because every day, you see me at the beginning, after I do the intro hook, then it's kind of a minute of me just kind of, hi, I'm Steve Kidd, blah, 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 and rote memory things that I can do while I'm, and the first thing I do is I hard up my post. And it's interesting that this would happen today because it's such a great example of us all continuing to grow and learn. And that is, I didn't hold on it long enough, and I didn't hit the right button to be able to get the heart, and it ended up being a thumbs up. And I immediately went back and I said, no, I don't want just that, hey, you're cool. I wanted it to be a heart. I know that algorithmically that heart makes a difference, whereas the thumbs up really doesn't. Um, you know, I'm the one who makes the first comment. And yeah, the first comment is always me inviting my followers, and highlighting this, to get people to come. And then I invite a few of the people that are close to me. And if you're not on that list, don't take it personal. If you really want to be on that list, reach out to me and say, hey, Steve, every single day when you go live, I want to be on that list of people that you tag in every one of your things. Okay. You can move to that level. These are just some names that just, I use them so often that I can put at and the first letter or two of their name, and their name pops up, and I can do it. And I can do all of that in about a minute while I'm rambling about, me being a third generation minister and international best-selling author, all of that stuff. But you need to be that person that gives yourself a heart. You got to heart up your stuff first. If you don't, why should anybody else? Really? I mean, come on. Love yourself enough to love your stuff. It starts from your mouth, speaking to your ears, that goes into your brain, and then it goes beyond just your brain, drops down into the heart, where you really start feeling and believing. And it's like, I am amazing. I'd really love for somebody to take up this challenge right now today and to do it. Hey, do you know you're amazing, right? Into the phone. Hey, do you know you're amazing? You watch it immediately. You come back and you watch it 30 minutes later. Okay. Then you come back and you watch it tomorrow morning. And then from there on, you watch it every morning and every evening for a week. And then you step away from it for a week. You mark it on the calendar so that you know. And then for the next 28 days after that, you do it every morning and every evening. And if you're not at a place where you're, without watching the video, saying, hey, do you know you're amazing to yourself? You find yourself randomly throughout the day looking in the mirror going, hey, do you know you're amazing? This is not about building narcissism in you or making you some kind of conceited jerk. This is about you learning to see yourself and love yourself. Turning you into your first raving fan. I love how Seth Godin talks about the raving fans. He says it's better to have 100 raving fans than 10,000 people who could care less. Your number one raving fan absolutely should be you. You should be more of a raving fan of yourself than your mom is. And that's a high bar. Because for the most part, no matter what stupid stuff you do in the world, your mom is still your biggest cheerleader. You need to outshine your moms cheering you on. Be your own raving fan. That should be out of your 100, if you're going Seth Godin style. Number one should be you. And then, again, with the millions that we talked about before, with the crowds of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, after we've reached that one that's us, then we want to reach that next one. Who is the one person that I can help? And know for that one, it made all the difference. If you came into this world and you rescued, helped, saved, enlightened, helped to grow, whatever, motivational tagline you want to use, tied the rope and hung on with that little kitty, whatever that might be, for just one person, it would be more than enough. I promise you, you're going to reach way more than that. And someday your social media person's going to do like mine did to me just the other day. It was so exciting. Oh my gosh. They're going to say, hey, I don't know if you saw this video on YouTube, but this one, and it's like 5 seconds. And And honestly, I've watched it, but I haven't listened to it. So I don't know if there's music behind it or there's no word, or if I'm rambling some of my rambling stuff. I don't know. But there's like almost 2,600 people. Usually each of those videos gets about 100, 150 maybe. 2,600, it's 25, whatever, 25,000, blah, blah, blah. Not quite 2,600, but almost 2,600 people. Wow. That's cool. That's freaking amazing, dude. Because you just focused on that one. First, you focused on that person on the selfie camera, that person in the mirror. And then you focused on just, can I help somebody today? What can I do to be the best version of myself while it's called today? And just help one person. That's more than enough. You see, first you speak out your voice and it transforms you. It changes you. It rewires you from the inside out. Your voice saying to you, hey, do you know you're awesome? Gets to the point where you actually start believing, hey, do you know you're awesome? I can say it to you. Honestly, the truth of it is you saying it to you is going to have more impact than anybody else in the entire world ever saying it to you will. Because if that one extremely traumatic person was like, wow, I totally got it completely, that dream thing that we have where that person who was totally abusive to us, blah, 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 came and said, hey, I'm just so inspired by you. Oh my gosh, I was completely wrong. Please forgive me for everything I've ever done. All of that, right? Would not be as impactful, not really. I know it feels that way, and I totally get that feeling. Would not be as impactful as you really, truly looking at you and saying, hey, you are awesome. I dig you. What would it feel like to be in love with yourself? All too often, we spend all of our time looking for the love of our life rather than being the love of our life, loving ourselves. And it has to start there. We have to start. Yes, Michael Jackson's old song, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. With all of his faults and all of his flaws. Everything you can say about Michael Jackson, all that, okay, who cares? Because when you begin to believe in yourself, you're going to radically change the world. And the first world you're going to change is your own. Everything that you've ever dreamt of is possible, but it all comes on the other side of you seeing, knowing, believing, trusting, and liking yourself. It's just the way it is. So I'm encouraging you today. Your words matter. Yes, even the quiet whispers. Everything you say matters. Even when you're talking nonsensical, it matters. You matter. And I'd love to help you out. You want to get the Safe Start script? This is Safe Starts, just prompts, little sentence starters to start using your voice right now today. Come and join us in the Visibility Amplifier community. That's visibilityamplifier.com. If you need help getting clear, if you find yourself struggling, being able to just pick up that phone and just say, hey, do you know you're awesome? Then we need to talk. Drop clarity. In this particular case, I'm guessing you're going to need to DM it to me because you probably are not going to have the courage to comment it. If you do, great. Let's talk. Let me help you see how amazingly incredible you are. Let's begin to start developing that clarity so that you can make the difference in this world that only you can make. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so honored to be here holding down this space for you. We're going to be back again tomorrow, and tomorrow we're going to talk about this is where your words, just this random blah, 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 turn into a message. And we'll be here tomorrow. We'll be here when the day is new, right? We'll have more ideas for you. You'll have things you'll want to talk about. I will too. We'll be together again tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it. In the meantime, I really do hope that you're happy, you're safe, warm, and loved. And that if you aren't, that we can help you get to that place. And then until you can come on and watch us again, live or on replay, I hope that you have a great week.